height, we're desperately going to insist that the taxis operate in this fashion and kind of move around and then head out in that direction. We will also then pull the bus function that kind of happens in this area into this part of the station. There is the ability for them to make a three-point turn and get back out, but we'll have it happen at this end, not out where everyone's trying to get in and out of the station. The red arrows in this case indicate the current Compass room is in this location, so this is the main entrance to come in, to the main waiting room. And then this little area here we'll see more clearly in future plans, but this becomes the baggage claim area that then would be able to dump out onto this sidewalk area. Currently, this is where the enclosure for the escalators is, so you don't really perceive that there's any availability of a sidewalk in this location at all, but it will end up being a very generous sidewalk to help facilitate the loading and unloading of baggage and the comings and goings of the train station. And we're also eliminating 11 parking stalls in this location, again, further facilitating the movement of folks in and out of the station. Here's the diagram I should have been talking to earlier, but this is just indicating our desired traffic flows. I think I will caveat everything I just said about how we're hoping to improve this by saying that there really is not a great solution given the confined space that it is. The ideal solution would really be to get the buses out of that area, to get the taxis perhaps out and just have this be a drop-off zone and treat the drop-off and function somewhere else. But it's an extremely confined area, and we're hoping that this will provide a significant improvement over the current condition going forward. The interior of the train station. You all know what it looks like currently. And so this is that waiting room. So if you think of that historic picture that we saw just a moment ago, this is what it looks like today. This is the baggage. This is where you go to drop off and pick up your bags. It's depressing. And it really doesn't provide the kind of dignified door to the city of Seattle that I think we all deserve. This is the radiant heat. I call them the broilers because they're really, you feel like you're underneath a broiler. That's how it's heated. And so that will be removed along with the ceiling.
Could you talk into the microphone, please?
I'm sorry.
Wow. Thank you.
So this is the current ticketing area, and this is within that historic space of the station. And I think as some of you saw, there are hints of the potential above that drop ceiling that was added. You see some of the deterioration of those rentable, leasable spaces on the second and third floor. But you do see more hints of the former glory of the station. This is the terrazzo and the mosaic, the stone mosaic floors that will be virtually 100% preserved in the work that we're doing, despite really a tremendous amount of work that we'll be doing within the station. We made a significant effort to save the floor because it is so unique and what a beautiful element in the building. So this again is that same shot back again, and that medallion that we saw in this previous slide, this rose medallion here is actually one of the balcony ones that's, when you're in this balcony area, I believe you can see, and maybe you saw today, one of those. And there's another line of them here within the space. But this really is the vision. You can see that here's the terrazzo floor with the mosaic, the stone mosaics. Again, that floor will be brought back to life and preserved. The plaster work on the walls will all be recreated. The marble wainscoting and the tile that are part of that, the mosaics that create part of that. You can see the hint of this in the Compass room, the green and gold that's returned with the stone, the marble stone. And you see all the sconces that are lining the level here, and then the chandeliers. Most of those have been lost, and so we will be recreating from photographs particularly the chandeliers. And I added this slide only to show the potential of that main room, that this is the Compass room that you all walked into. You see the beautiful floor, the restored marble and tiles, the mosaic tiles, and the sconce light fixtures, the chandelier, and the beautiful marble work. And so if you imagine that this small entryway is then magnified into that incredible space that is the main waiting room. To talk briefly about the areas that will be restored historically, all the areas in the yellow are areas that have been deemed historic, of historic significance, and that would mean that they have a significant amount of the plaster work that we've been talking about, and the floors within those spaces have the historic terrazzo and mosaic tiles. It's important to point out that artifacts their historic architectural consultants have been a critical member of the team in helping guide us and determine the areas of the building that will be that are to be considered critical in the historic renovation that we're doing. One thing I do want to point out, the women's waiting room, I think we talked about this at the very beginning today. That space, we will be upgrading the structure within that space, but we don't currently have the funds to do the full restoration of the plaster to that space. But the compass room, the main waiting room area here, we call it the pre-ticketing area. It's the area today that you see in the kind of forest of columns. All of this area down to the baggage claim area that does have portions of the historic plaster and terrazzo floor will all be restored in that. This is the line of the balcony above as a reference point. The future plan is that we do have to add stairs. There's things like codes that we have to comply with. So we're adding a stair in what was one of the restrooms. The women's restroom will remain in this location, which is very consistent with where it is today, and we're adding the men's room on this side. This was a space that historically served as a magazine and snack bar, but we're repurposing it into the area, but the volume of the space is space that was contained historically, so it will continue to remain accurate in that respect. You can see here the elevator that will be installed, providing access back up to the second level and out to the Jackson Street level. And then this area was historically the dining room. I don't know if any of the tours went into the area that was the dining room historically. Most of the fabric of that dining room has been lost over the years, and it's now back at house space for Amtrak and storage. And the goal here is to add the ticketing function here. I'll get into why it's in this location a little bit further as we talk more, but it will be in this location. So you can enter the station, buy your ticket in this area, drop your bag off, and then come back out to the waiting room and then board the trains out the doors on this side here. The back of the space, the rest of the purple area here is the Amtrak baggage handling and their office functions for the rest of it. Again, that's allowing them to take the ticket function that's here today back over to here, and then all their back of house space allows us to remove that addition that they made to the south side of the building a long time ago. One, it may be of less interest, but all of the utilities to the building will be brand new. So the water, the power, all of those things will be new, and we're housing all of that in the last few bays to the north here. So north is up, in this case, the tracks are along this side here. That's the plan. Moving up to the second floor, off of the Jackson Street Plaza, you come in the door, you'll be able to walk down, and here's the elevator that will bring you downstairs, and then straight ahead, you'll be able to come to the balcony edge and overlook that great room ultimately someday, flanked on either side by the potential of tenant spaces, restaurants or sandwich shops. Yeah?
With all the new additions that you're upgrading, or were you able to comply with any of the LEED certification?
I'm glad you asked that, and
the question, please.
the question was, I'm going to generalize it from LEED to how sustainable were we able to do all of this work.